the opening of the Venegas and Venegas exhibition in New York City. Photographer Yvonne Venegas has spent the last decade capturing the extravagant, beautiful, and sometimes perplexing rituals of Mexico's upper middle class. The subject matter is something her family is accustomed to, not because the Venegases themselves grew up rich, but because Yvonne's father, Jose Luis, was a society photographer in the 1970s in the border city of Tijuana. One of the first to bring colour photography to northern Mexico, he would record the traditional rites of passage of his clients. The weddings, the christenings, the parties, the reminders that those being photographed had arrived. So these are the images that Yvonne was surrounded by as a child. As an adult, she wanted to explore what lay behind them.
I do remember the studio as being like this dark place, and people coming in to be photographed, like people dressed up, wearing sparkly clothes, wearing makeup.
A ver, abran esos ojitos. Ahí va, ahí va, ahí va. Una más.
Much of Venegas's work focuses on that sometimes awkward moment before any posed photograph is taken. She saw plenty of those times in her father's studio.
I was quite marked by that experience of being in the studio and looking at people coming in to sort of create a memory for themselves and look for a kind of picture that would make them feel as part of a group or as part of something. Going from that moment to now, I would say that my interest continues to grow in how societies build themselves and what are the things that people need to, in order to feel they belong. And I find that fascinating, the idea that a society could have been in the making and sort of what are the things that we know and we don't know how to handle, how to do, like etiquette and things like that.
So what is the message of these photographs? Is Venegas commenting on Mexico's income gap or implying that the country's upper middle class is shallow?
I think that there's shallow people in all levels of society. I don't think that it's necessarily a characteristic that defines a whole society. That's not something that I'm interested in portraying. For me, it's important to work with people that are more profound and appreciate art. And luckily, I mean, working with the upper middle class, you tend to find subjects that have those possibilities. If I'm anything, I'm a bit ambiguous on my message, and that's the reason why people have so many possible interpretations.
Her exquisitely presented photographs are juxtaposed with those of her father. Perhaps that's unfair. Jose Luis didn't take these believing he was creating art. He was just keeping his clients happy.
What I find of these pictures is that my dad's vision was in the making. I mean, he was young and he didn't really know maybe how to sometimes handle a situation. Sometimes the flash was overexposed or sometimes they were a bit rough on the edges, which I just find beautiful. No, I find that when you actually see that the photographer is in the making is the same thing as looking for vulnerability. It's a way of knowing my father through his pictures and the things that he could have considered mistakes that I think are beautiful.
Yvonne's works on display are from her three most recent projects. Many feature Maria Elvia de Hank, the wife of the wealthy, eccentric former mayor of Tijuana, Jose Hank.
This is an image that has 4 generations. It's got Maria Elvia in the middle with the pink dress, her mother and her daughter, and her firstborn. And the hand sort of reaching into the picture is of Jorge Hank, her husband. And they're getting rid of the bag just to make a portrait of them without just the women. And I like the image because it does represent something that I look for a lot, which is the moment previous to the official memory or after. It's something that sits somewhere in between and it's ambiguous. So the picture is called handbag because somehow it's about the handbag, this moment. It's not really about the portrait, it's not really about, I mean, that instant was really just get rid of the bag so we can take a picture. Sometimes I like these moments because they speak more about something fragile. So this image is called Nirvana and it's from 2006. It's also from the series of Maria Elvia. Beautiful girl in this beautiful dress sort of resting on these gold dishes. The image is called Nirvana because her name is Nirvana and I really love that title for it. It's perfect. It's almost like sometimes with this project the titles were given to me by the subject themselves. The name of the subject plays a little bit on the idea of nirvana, like you've reached something higher, no, something. And in her expression, it's more like a boredom or tiredness.
I like that. I like the one of the little girl. I see this happening at a lot of weddings. That the children fall asleep. It's showing the opulence on all of these things they have, but it's a child that is falling asleep in the middle of the wedding. You know, I think it's very interesting the expression of the children, and they're doing different things. Another one is asleep, another one's looking at the plate, another one's looking at the other guy. I like the whole thing. I like the way, the lines and everything of that picture. You can stop time with a picture. You can stop right there. Life keeps going and time keeps going, but you just, I think it's a treasure being a photographer that you can capture all these moments.
Like many of the scenes in the photographs, this exhibition has been a family affair, with one very proud father.
I never dreamed that I was going to be in New York in an exposition, and especially with my daughter, so this is really a treat.